Hey, welcome to Pocket Sized Play. We're a podcast about short, compelling, actual play at tabletop role-playing games. My name is Tim.
I am Tor.
I'm Timothy.
And I'm Sapphire.
And welcome, Sapphire. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
We're going to be playing Urban Shadows, and I understand that you have played that before, Sapphire, and I was just wondering if you had anything that you like about that game, anything you find interesting to share from that previous experience.
What I enjoyed about Urban Shadows is that it celebrates the diversity of inner city life. You know, your characters can be from any background, class, gender diversity. It seems pretty progressive to me as far as being inclusive around important issues like gender, sexuality, and identity. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's such a great point. And I feel like that's evident in character creation where there's a note about encouraging players to play a gender besides their own or a race besides their own or a sexual orientation besides their own, just to start thinking about kind of that intersectionality of how all those different issues play off each other in an urban environment.
And so that's why I played myself in this game, which is an old white man.
So for anyone who's not familiar, Urban Shadows is like we said, a modern fantasy RPG. It's by Andrew Medeiros and Mark Diaz-Truman. It's published by Magpie Games. And yeah, basically supernatural politics in a city of mortals and monsters. With that, let's jump into character introductions.
I am Ash, the Fae. I am a Fae of the Autumn Court, but I have somehow lost favour. What I desperately need is to get back into favour with the Autumn Court. I've been in the city for a while, and I see humanity. It amuses me. They do things so differently, so weirdly. It just intrigues me. I'm female. I got slightly feral, earthy, patchworky clothes and dreads. And I have tan skin with a very ambiguous ethnicity. Just something otherworldly about me. You can't really place where I might be coming from.
Yeah, it's interesting playing the vamp because it was definitely my least favourite character, and last time I played Urban Shadows, no one chose it. Who am I? Well, my name is Eden, and I've been in this city for about 5 years. I was turned during the Industrial Revolution in northern England by a very attractive young woman who I just, couldn't get my eyes off. Yeah, I kind of harassed her into killing me. And then, because I'm such a pretty boy, yeah, she decided that she'd keep me for a little while. Boy, did I regret that. I keep my cravings in check by being very fussy about what I feed on and feeding regularly. So Eden's a bit of a white male. He's been alive dead for a couple 100 years now. But, he hasn't grown up at all. He also sees a bit of a threat with the environment and that humans may be causing a risk to his future food chains if he's going to exist forever. And he's more than happy to throw his white entitled maleness around to prove his point whenever he needs to. And yeah, he sometimes doesn't notice. Yeah, he's quite shallow and self-entitled and selfish. So that's Eden.
My name is Asa Sarkin, and I'm a gray and wrinkled, aging Jewish man in somewhat dirty clothes, and I'm playing the veteran playbook. I've lived in the city all my life, born in a poor neighborhood before the Second War. I dropped out of middle school to help my father run moonshine and bootleg liquor. After that, I was in the business for over 50 years before becoming irrelevant. For years and years, I owned every piece of ass for sale in pretty much the whole metro area. Most all the strip clubs belonged to me, and the massage parlors, go-go clubs, discotheques, whorehouses, secret gambling rooms, speakeasies, pool halls, you name it. I was the king of this town, and I owned every vice. But then things started changing. More and more gangs kept moving in, and everything started going narcotics and serious drugs. There were some turf wars, and little by little, I started losing neighborhoods. In of itself, not a big deal. It's a big city. There's still plenty for me. But then I crossed the line, way over the line, and it cost me the most precious thing of all. And after that, I was broken, a husk of what I once was, and it was all downhill from there. So what do I desperately need? I just need one last chance to go out in a blaze of glory. I got nothing to live for anymore, and the prospects of a future of staring blankly at a bingo card in a nursing home, trying to remember my name. They've forgotten who I was, who I am, but they're going to remember again one more time.
We chose Portland, but we're going to make it super easy here because we're going to focus on a neighborhood, Southeast Portland. So think of a neighborhood that would have been middle class, residential back in the 20s through the 50s. Commercial strips in the 60s and 70s kind of grew quite a bit, but then quickly gentrified starting in the 90s. So you have these strips where there's perhaps a giant warehouse. It says something like mattress barn outside. Probably the workspace of Asa or something like that. And on one side is a high-rise, expensive-ass condo building, and on the other side is bubble tea or a whiskey bar or something like that. So you have this face of gentrification where the very old, the very new are butting up against each other.
Humans, machines, destruction, it's all part of nature. It's just a little blip on the radar. It comes, it goes. There's still going to be life on the planet, even though it's going to be completely different after humans are done.
So the feeling I get then is that the Fae are like a forgotten people or hidden people, something that has been around longer than the mortals for sure, and maybe you were there first, and you've witnessed some rise and fall. Maybe something sent most of you to whatever realm that many of the Fae spend their time, and perhaps there is a push to reclaim, some areas in the city. Not necessarily you, but like the Fae politics around you. I like the idea of the Fae being kind of wrapped up with some of the nightclubs and bars in town. Let's see, like everyone knows the story, like a couple weeks back at that one music venue, the Crystal Ballroom, which is actually a place in Portland, so we're going to run with that, where someone just made trees sprout up in the center of the show, and like people were just going like ass wild, like climbing up them, eating the fruit that would grow off of it. The fruit would fall to the ground and die, and new fruit would grow again. And it was just this night of ecstasy. 10 people went missing that night. No one ever heard from them again. So, I mean, that's an issue too. When I think vampire organization, I think of the established order with vampire politics, and there's a hierarchy, and it's very cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors. And I wondered how you felt about vampires just being a slightly more anarchic, sort of loosely knit kind of punk gang around town.
Yeah, he's a total anarchist. He likes to work solo. He's not a really big fan of other vampires.
Along that same strip where the mattress barn is and that whiskey bar. That's completely vampire territory, which has expanded a little bit. You have these hip new kids coming in, cool cosmopolitan kids with money who want to just talk with you about the issues, and they're okay if you feed off of them. I mean, like they have a trust fund, like they'll bounce back.
How do you feel about him potentially coming in and maybe owning a kind of dive boho bar? Yeah, maybe his apartment could be underneath because he needs a secluded apartment.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
The Gypsy Bar?
Is it called the Gypsy Bar?
Yeah, that's him. And he's like, he's been culturally appropriating like styles and beliefs for like hundreds of years. Like he's a pro at this kind of thing, yeah.
They're playing like some Gogol Bordello, most nights, and there's
totally.
And for the record, no Roma have ever actually stepped foot in the bar. So we went around the table to determine everyone's debts. Ash owes Asa for this extra-dimensional portal device he's been working on in the workshop. And Ash and Eden have some shared history from during the Industrial Revolution. Then players marked each other's standing with factions in the city: Mortality, Night, Power, and Wild, and then the first scene opens. We're gonna open things up at the Gypsy Bar. So the walls are old red brick, but plastered on top of that is a vintage peeling wallpaper, kind of a golden diamond design. There's some spotlights shoddily wired up above and a small wooden stage in the corner where a band would be playing, except right now it's just a single woman wrapped in scarves, a velvet scarf around her eyes, holding tiny bells between all of her fingers, chanting and intoning. It's apparently a gypsy thing. The people at the bar are lost in her moaning and clattering of the bell, among having, of course, pictures of PBR for some of the broke college students who made their way in. Of course, in the corner, being that there is lots of fresh blood around, there's a vampire. It's Vicente, who is drinking a glass of red wine, as vampires do when they want to look moody, and over the rim of that, eyeing a couple young college students who are currently being, for lack of a better word, seduced by a fae. It's Clara, and she's telling stories about this drug trip on the beaches of California and some of the transcendental visions and truths that were revealed. These college students are just drinking up every word of that. Vicente looks angry as he's clasping that glass. He's realizing that opportunity for fresh blood might follow this fae out the door. The woman on stage is finally coming to a halt. Eden, what are you doing right now?
I'm just drinking at the bar, just talking with some of the regulars.
Yeah. So you're talking to the regulars. It's probably some corn-fed kid named Carter, and he's, asking you about these gypsies and be like, so did that one on the stage, did she come all the way from, Gypsy Land?
I'm sitting in the corner looking at a plastic succulent, just being very amused by it. Kind of running my hands through the gravel that it's sitting in. Maybe I have promised to meet up with Sarkin. I want an update. What's going on with the portal?
Yeah, I'm already there. I'm already into a 2-pitcher buzz, avoiding you at the bar. I'm in a dirty wife beater with, some tufts of gray chest hair coming out the top of it. I'm complaining about art. I don't get art these days. Back in my day, we were happy. I don't understand this.
And the girl next to you, her black eyeliner, it was drawn to look like it's been running down her face from crying all day. It was just drawn to have that effect. Her hair is kind of an ice blue with black streaks. And says, oh, wow, the locals here are, real, that's why I came out to this city. So Clara, the fae who was talking to the college students about that drug trip that you heard in the background, after everyone's finished clapping, she kisses each of those college students on the forehead and does a motion with her hand, spinning her wrist gently, and you see a little daffodil spring up from that, and then it withers and dies. And the college students, there's 3 of them. They eat up every bit of this, and they start following Clara into the bathroom. At that, Vicente, the vampire who is watching what he hoped would be his prey from the bar, he slams down that wine glass hard enough to break the stem and strides across the room.
I'm oblivious because I'm just soaking up the adoration coming from the corn farm guy.
Yes, Carter. He's flirting with you at this point, leaning in, elbows on the bar. He's not paying attention, but he's just smiling with his lips open just a little bit, glistening.
When I saw the little bit of fair magic, I got intrigued by it, and I remembered the rumors I've heard about people disappearing, and I wander up to Eden and tap him on his shoulder. I think something's going on here in your establishment.
It's an establishment. There's always something going on here.
I don't really trust that, Clara.
Can't you sort it out? I'm kind of busy here.
Okay.
Yeah, the four of them are heading to a single stall bathroom, so
Yeah.
who knows what is planned. So Asa, as you see Ash, dreadlocks flopping behind.
I'll tell you what's disappearing. Western civilization, that's what's disappearing.
I point 2 fingers at my eyes and turn them and point them right at Sarkin's eyes as I walk past.
Did I just hear that? And then he leaves to start to get into a discussion with Asa about the end of Western civilization.
And Ash, as you're walking over there, I mean, Vicente is matching you stride for stride and takes a step in front of you, in front of where that door has just closed to this single stall bathroom. Faye, this is vampire business. You do see the fangs glisten. His hair is pale blonde, slicked back, far too much product, cheekbones up above his ears. He's wearing a tailored suit. It was probably just bought from Goodwill.
I'm trying to get a read on or remember the situation.
Sounds like you're trying to figure someone out. Do you want to roll with mind to get a better sense of that?
Absolutely. That's 5.
All right, we get started off right tonight.
The door has closed behind and you hear it lock. At that, he says, "Fuck," and whips at you as he turns around to that door. His hands have become claw-like pretty quickly, and you feel the red swipes of pain across your flesh as he is now scratching at that door, trying to open it up with sheer strength. Please take 2 harm for him lashing out pretty stupidly at you. But he's now messing up it's actually like a reinforced steel door. Like it probably used to be, maybe it led to a fridge or something back before.
I get up and I grab my longboard by the bar and I go and try to hit Vicente over at the back of the head.
My read is I'm too old for this shit.
Alright. Gotta have a bar fight.
Which is a move for me.
Let's see unleashing an attack on that. So that is rolling plus blood.
11.
So on a hit, you're inflicting that 2 harm, but you can choose one of these options, either to inflict terrible harm, that would be 3, or to take something from them.
Yeah, I definitely want to get between him and the door because, I've got a set of keys to that door hanging off my, chain wallet.
He should honestly be just fine, but he is kind of built like porcelain and falls like crumpled paper. He makes far too much of a scene as he's, "Yow! Eden, you dick!" He's muttering to himself, and Asa, you see him crawling by your foot, and he's like, "There has to be a window out there," and he's making his way for the door. Real quick, Ash and Asa, what are you guys doing?
I have the same idea that Vicente had. If there is another back window that these guys could get through, then I would like to be there and meet them.
If you want to get there before Vicente does, let's have that be escaping a situation.
Okay. 7. End up in another dangerous situation and owe someone a debt for my escape. And I would owe Eden a debt.
He did kind of bail you out of that, huh?
Yeah.
You are now in this alley. It's narrow enough that you would have to kind of sidle to get back and forward along there. It's just trash that's piled up from years and years.
I'm going to the alley just to make sure Ash gets out of there. And as I'm striding out, I have hidden in my pants my sawed-off shotgun.
Eden, you have your keys. The door is right there. There are a couple scratches across some of the band posters that were on there. It creaks open, and you see 4 people crowded around a toilet. Clara is standing on the rim, looking down into the toilet. The 3 college students are all standing around it. But what catches your eye the most is these water lilies and little lily pads that have sprouted up inside the toilet water The 3 college students are transfixed, and one of them is reaching out to put his hand into the toilet.
This is kind of a new kind of weird toilet fairy stuff. It's not really something I've seen before. You guys are on way too many drugs. Get the fuck out of my bar.
Because Clara's kind of actively opposing here because she's doing a little ritual, but she's not going to let you just steal them. So let's do a keep your cool.
Yeah, I just want to get the kids out of there, and then I just want to get her out, make sure she stays out. Just checking my stat. Cool-blooded. Yep, so I roll with blood instead of spirit.
Love it. Let's do it. Roll plus blood.
I got a 5. Epic fail. I suck.
So let's talk a little bit about Clara. So she has dreads, as a lot of the Fae do, but they're kind of coiled up and up and up real high. And she's wearing a tunic. When she sees you trying to take control of that situation, she reaches down and just grabs those keys from you, pushes you back with her foot, and slams that door back again. So Ashley, you made your way to the window, and you actually saw the last bit of that. So it's a slider window. It's about at eye level. Someone can climb through that if you were to just bust the screen out. No problem. You see him being pushed out. You see these 3 college students, and one of them started licking the water. And when they do that, their body shimmers just a little bit. Asa, you're making your way through this very narrow alley. You see Vicente in front of you, so watching Ash during this.
Oh, I want to get in this window. Probably bust my way in at this moment.
Cool. Bust it open. You're there.
Yeah.
Like your torso is in, so half of your body would be out, legs kind of kicking a little bit. You maybe would have an arm free, but you're using it mostly to move yourself, so you're kind of in a bad position physically. And Clara looks up at you, calm, level gaze. What do I need to do so that you avoid this situation, Ash?
I just want you to get out of this place. I want to quickly stretch my hand out and see if I can grab her. And then if I can, I'll just use my weight to pull her up to the window.
You pull on the dreads and they unravel. So you just see this Medusa-like, it's called a litany of dreads, just pile down all around. And you're pulling on those.
What are you trying to do?
It's orders from the monarch. Those who are in communication with the court would know. Asa, you see Vicente getting closer, I guess, to Ash's legs sticking out. The fangs are still out. You'll see them gleaming in the moonlight, and you can't move too quickly along here, but you see Vicente coming in.
So I wonder if Vicente is an old friend of mine.
You might have some background. Shall we roll for that?
So that's a 9?
You do have history together, but you owe them something.
I think I got Vicente to plant some surveillance equipment for me.
Yeah. He calmly looks you up and down. Asa, right now is not the time.
Hey man, we're solid, but you gotta let this go. You gotta walk away.
I would not give a fuck about Ash if he would get out of my way. I need to feed, and I'm sure you have a drink to get back to, buddy, old friend.
Yeah, you gotta go find someplace else to feed.
Yeah, so I want to give you an opportunity to either honor the debt or refuse it. He steps in close. His breath reeks of garlic. It's that garlic toast from that expensive toast bar down the street. You fucking owe me, man. I did your, camera shit, and now he's getting away. Do you want to honor that debt or not?
Let me talk to Ash. Let me just see what I can do.
Sweet. So you honored a debt with the Night faction. Let's check back inside with Eden. It's dead quiet in your establishment, and everyone is shocked, I guess, because there was a bit of violence. The musician walked out the door, and no one's ordered a drink in about 5-10 minutes. So,
guys, it's a bar, drink. And I go up to the nearest, like, Derek Jensen wannabe, and I'm just like, hey, dude, can I borrow your Leatherman?
He's wearing a utility kilt with lots of pockets and a big belt. Hairy legs, white socks pulled up, Birkenstock sandals. Eden, he has 2 Leathermen on him. So he flips the broken, janky one up in the air, spinning for you to catch. You can jimmy your way in there for sure.
So yeah, I just yell at the bar staff to put on the house music, and pretty soon you hear Parastella's latest album playing.
When the music goes, Penelope, the singer from before, she had stepped outside and she reappears in the doorway, and Penelope directs a stare right at you through her scarf. You don't know how she's staring at you through the scarf. Eden, it's like you heard my music but didn't listen to my words. Aren't you worried for the night?
I'm always worried for the night, babe. I'll buy a drink later.
And she breaks character for a moment to say, this music is shite. She says, it will go up in flames tonight, that city block. I know it. I saw it. I sang it. And she takes off her scarf, and her eyes aren't there. It's blood coming down.
What the hell? Golly gosh. This is not what I need right now. Pretty much got to the point where I just can't take anymore, and I just kick the table that Vicente was sitting at, and his broken wine glass goes and shatters at the back of the stage, and I storm off to the toilet door with this chunky Leatherman.
So, Ash, you've had some time to think about what your response is with Clara.
You know I've been out of it for a long time. Let me in on it.
And here I expected I would promise you something, but you promise to be part of seeing these 3 to the court?
I want to figure out what she's planning to do.
Yeah, figure something out, so roll plus mind.
6.
Here is where I want to check in with Asa, who is wanting to maybe help you, because helping would make a big difference with the outcome of this.
I don't really know what she's doing. I'm going to grab her leg and pull her out.
Ash, Clara considers the fact that you're cozying up a little bit too quickly before you really have the information, and says, something smells a bit traitorous. And one of the college students says, no, this toilet reeks. You suddenly get the back of your head against the window as you're pulled out by your legs, and you hear a flush. Let's have the scene then with Eden opening up the door. So Eden, you hear the flush, and you see some legs that are sticking out of the toilet and a shoe that's fallen. You see another person swan dive in right behind, and there's one college student left. She has kind of rosy, chubby cheeks and pigtails. She's wearing a nice polo shirt, and she suddenly started freaking out because she realized her 2 friends dove into the toilet.
Yeah, I reach out with my super quick reflexes and grab this college girl's pigtails and just kind of twirl her out the door behind me.
Because Claire was distracted, the girl was coming out of it, you can pick her up and just throw her. You're strong, you're eternal. But there's a deal of what you're doing with Clara. So she has a gravity knife in her bag. It's a little clutch, and she's pulled it out, whipped it. It's a big knife, and she's coming at you now. She's pissed. She's not gonna talk and stare anymore. You just straight up interrupted probably the most important person she was trying to get through there.
I back off quickly through the door and shut it and lock it with my shonky knife.
Wait, you lock it from the outside with the knife?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so let's do a keep your cool for that then. That sounds like a perfect situation. So you get to roll plus blood for it.
Oh, a 7.
Let's just make it kind of gruesome. So Clara was reaching through the door. We mentioned the door was like a heavy steel one, and you're kind of strong. So you close the door on her arm, and her hand stretches out. The knife falls, and then it hangs limply. And you hear her cussing and screaming on the other side. Where that college student was, you threw her. She slid across the dance floor. It was smooth wood from all the feet that had been on it. And you get a better look at her. She's actually familiar. Like, this is like the mayor's daughter. She's spoiled, but a nice kid who got wrapped up in some crap. So, Ash, when you were pulled onto Asa, what did you do?
What the heck? Asa! And I kind of do a bit of a push on him.
But I'm old man strong. I don't know if you know what old man strong is, but, you just don't move them.
Yeah. So I'm probably just pushing myself backwards.
Simmer down. Vicente was about to go round 2 on you.
So he has his arms crossed, surveying the situation, and then you see him smell. And he says, "Fuck, she's gone." And he's taking a couple quiet steps into the darkness.
I click the safety back on my shotgun. We better get back in there. I'm not so sure Eden's going to be able to handle it all.
I walk up to the wall where the bathroom is and put my hands on it, and I'm going to unleash my fairy magic. I'm just going to unleash lots of nature on the thing, just trees growing out and smashing this whole wall.
Let's have that be, wild fury and use a fairy power. So choose one. Which one of those do you want?
A mark of corruption.
Brick by brick, they kind of like start pushing out and then cracking and then falling. And you see a root structure emerging along the surface of the wall. They start sprouting out one after another along there. So where a brick was, a little tree is now. And they're beautiful, gleaming green in the night. And then they all start shedding their leaves and falling away so that there's a space where the plants once were. Let's have that shot of you looking at Clara, arm stuck in the door, blood draining from her face. She's screaming about the monarch. Vicente in the shadows right by the door, peering around and looking at Eden and that college student. Penelope dropped one scarf after another as she's walking off into the street, the moon gleaming off her body, strange bloodied eyes. The sky is red in the horizon, a bit smoky. Asa, what are you doing?
Shaking my head, I'm like, back in my day when you were mad at someone, you just took a blackjack to them and give them a welt across the back of their leg. I'm too old for this shit.
Do we have an end of session thing?
Yeah, we probably do. If you learn something meaningful about a faction, increase your score in that faction by 1, and decrease your score in another faction by 1.
I'll bump my wild up, probably, and take down the power because it's super high.
I have a better understanding of the power faction. And I think I'm going to take it from wild.
Yeah, I'll take one from the night and add it to the wild.
Beautiful. Well, thanks so much for playing. I would love to do more sessions of this, so let's hope that it was a taste of what's to come rather than just a one-shot. So we will all stick around for hopefully more sessions of this. This is Pocket-Sized Play. You can hit us up at twitter.com/pocket-sized-play. Or check out the Gauntlet gaming community at gauntlet-rpg.com. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.